Welcome to the Nexus Unloaded podcast. This is Will Crozier.
And I'm Zach Congonis. We are here to bring you the best solutions to your lifting problems. Through our real-world experience, we hope to break things down in a digestible, applicable, and entertaining way.
We're tightened up. We're all good. You can see.
That's it.
We're all still slightly more comfortable than the couch photo that you posted the other day.
Just.
From the Pro Raw, post-Pro Raw.
I'm not squeezed between everyone this time, which is good.
I liked that couch.
That couch.
That one, yeah,
I'm
the
all
couch.
about
That poor
over here
couch. You still have that couch?
Still going?
Yeah,
It's at their place.
It's it. Yeah. It's never been the same.
No?
But
Okay.
it's still going though.
It's bowed.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was, it was us two. It was all of us and then Dean as well.
Yeah. Hundreds of kilos on that
It's a lot
couch
of
at one
human.
time.
Yeah.
Good times though.
It was.
Yeah.
That was a sick day.
I'm glad we didn't opt to do a podcast like the day after Pro Raw again. So we just did.
I was going to say that I've never seen a person consume
consume
so
so much
much
caffeine.
coffee and still be sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were just you love the coffee, and so like you were giving us good coffee, but at that point I didn't even care about the coffee quality because it was all about this pure quality.
Just pour it
quantity.
into my veins.
I need to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it could never be enough, but it was still good. It was still good.
Yeah.
Luckily, this Pro Raw went a little bit more to plan, so it was a little bit calmer of an episode. We're good.
Yeah.
But that's where I kind of want to start. Is that not there, but like right back at the very start, because the first podcast I did was on your podcast.
That was a very different Will Crozier.
What year was
Yeah.
that? What year?
Probably the year before that, 2018 maybe.
Yeah.
Reckon? I heard it was
Yeah.
earlier. Fuck, it feels like it.
No, maybe. No, it must have been like 17.
Yeah,
I think it was
I reckon
17
more like that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
'Cause you would have been at Essendon
Yeah.
and we would have been in the room.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. It was in the office.
Yeah, it would have been
was
in the
good
room.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
whatever
whatever
it
it
was.
was.
Yeah.
Will came in all nervous with like 3 pages of notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I still need notes. That's why we have like notes for episodes on this, but it's like very loose compared to that.
Yeah.
But we still need something because otherwise we end up on a completely
Just
different
talking.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly it's
It's
my
not the
fault,
same.
but that's okay.
Yeah, so the first podcast on that podcast, I remember we talked about just what made a good coach in general, or an online coach, or coach.
Yeah. I think both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've changed your mind on that now? Like coming forward, because you've gone into business, so you're teaching other people how to be good coaches. So
Yeah. I think the raw makeup's probably still the same.
Mm.
I think we're in a position in the industry where the standard of coaching is so much higher than what it used to be, at least in the environment that we're in the echo chamber, that we talk so much more about like people actually putting shit together so they can make money, not just being fucking great at programming. Because it's like it's that the access that we have now to such good information. It's like most people that come through, like we do this quiz, right? It's like score each area of your business,
yeah, okay.
and then you get a percentage at the end.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like in the skill set section, it's like 90% and above. So everyone's super confident in what they do. And then it's like, tell us about your onboarding system. They're like,
What's
what
that?
onboarding system?
You mean when people message me and then I go, yeah.
Yeah. Or their check-in process. And
Yeah.
then it's like, they send me a message on
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. And it's like, okay.
That was definitely my experience in my first, I don't know, like couple of years of being a one-on-one in-person commercial gym
Yeah.
PT
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm really good. I swear I'm really good at this. Like, why is old mate who
It's less good.
I feel like, well, looking back on it, my opinions maybe changed a little bit, but like I felt at the time, I was like, he doesn't know as much as me, so like, why the fuck does he have all these clients? You know, like, what's going on here? This is bullshit. But yeah, looking back on it, it was more of a maybe a lacking of communication skills, maybe a lacking of processes and of systems. So yeah, that view has changed a lot. But when we spoke, I remember we spoke roughly along the lines of like, came to the conclusion of like a good coach in the industry is somebody who just really cares a lot.
Yeah.
And I still think that's a pretty good call. Like looking forward, I still think that's pretty good. Like, because I see a lot of coaches who, their programming is great. They know all these little technical parts back to back, technique, analysis great, even systems sometimes pretty good. But they just really suck at talking to people.
Yeah.
And when you're a coach who coaches people, not robots, like it's not inputs, outputs, it's a big part of the job. Like a lot of my check-ins week to week are like, if it was just the programming aspect, it'd be like, okay, well, fuck, like maybe we're changing like a rep range, or maybe we're progressing like a difficulty or a percentage or something. But for the most part, like a big chunk of it is how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Like, did you get all the sessions done? If you didn't, like, why? Like, how can we arrange it differently? I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
Getting the best out of the person.
I think one thing we didn't really talk about last time was just like being able to lead as well, because there's a bit of a shift we've seen, just to that like acceptance style of coaching as well. We'll call it, where it's like, oh, it's okay, like to feel the way you feel, and it's okay to just like do this, and
certainly a time and a place. Hey,
bro, when we're hired to get an outcome, like making someone feel good for where they are is okay in acute circumstances, but just like making them feel like that all the time, it's like, you hired me to do this. Is this still something that you want to achieve? Then we have to kind of find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you go back to like goal setting expectations and like how much you can put. If your goal is to be mediocre, then well, that little shit doesn't matter. But if you're telling me you want to be number one, and you're missing training sessions or not getting enough sleep or your nutrition's fucking trash, like, I mean, like,
it's just swinging the pendulum of coaching like a little too far sometimes. It's like just doing it all the time, like looking through that lens, like every single check-in is like, oh, this happened last week, this happened last week, this happened last week.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, there's only so many times that can happen until you're like, hey, like, I've said, like, it's okay, but now it's not. Like, you've hired me for an outcome. Like, it's my job to navigate you somewhere. We need to actually find out, is that what you want, and how are we going to do it?
Yeah. I think a good coach finds the way to turn that mediocrity into scalable increases as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the gym and even like outside, like obviously one of the core things that personal trainers will advertise is like the confidence element that comes with training. Everyone wants to everyone feel more confident. It's like, well, the best way to get more confidence is to win more.
Yeah.
So if you can set up an environment where the client wins in, week out, no matter what that win is, it's still a win rather than like just staying the same good.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, we still try and take positives out of every fail. Like I tell all my clients constantly, I'm like, it's only a failure if you keep fucking doing it. Like even with veterans on the APRO last weekend, we had Anthony who came in, fucked up his weight, ended up having to cut way too much to make weight for a 2-hour weigh-in, and kind of stuffed his performance a little bit. Dude's been competing for fucking 8 years or some shit. Yeah. And it was like, well, this really sucks. But at the same, so you do the emotional thing, but then at the same time, you're like, but we know how much it screws you now. So next time, we're going to nail your nutrition and we're going to get you on. So, you know, I can't tell you if we're going there yet, but hopefully next time we get there, and then it won't be like, we won't view this as a failure. We'll view this as like, well, that was a harsh lesson, but, you know, we move forward from it. And if that lesson didn't occur, it would have kept screwing you up, or maybe like if it wasn't identified and addressed. So you try to view it as like the silver lining thing, and it's like the accepting. I'm accepting it, but I'm also telling you like, this is okay, cool, like that's fine. Be emotional, have a cry for the moment or whatever. Yeah, get that out of your system, but then let's come back to it, be logical and apply.
There's an expectation now as well. Like, you've accepted this is what's happened. Yeah. There's an expectation that we try not to do this again. We don't want this to happen again.
Yeah,
I think that's what helps us meet that new standard in the future.
Yeah. Do you have a system for identifying who needs more, like accepting, and then who needs more of a leader type attitude working towards them? Do you have a formula for that, or is it more? Because when I think about myself, like it's more of a feel. Like somebody will come on and
there's definitely intuition. I think. Like, I mean, the goals, time sensitive goals, there's less acceptance.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, I can't move the powerlifting meet. I can't move the bodybuilding show. Like, we can't call the place up and just say, hey, can we push this back 2 weeks because you didn't do what you're supposed to?
Yeah.
So I think, like, in that instance, like, you've got to lay those expectations out at the start. It's like, hey, you've hired me to get you here or to help you get there. It's like, sometimes there's going to be feedback that's going to hurt, you know, like emotionally, but it's like, that's what we're here to do. But then, like, you know, you've got to profile people just based off intuition. Like, some people need a little bit more of a cuddle. Yeah. But then there's like, I don't know about you guys, but I've got like
needs a bit of both. There's times where 100%. I've had the most stern, fucking, you know, hard leader type people that you're talking about, where usually my response to a lot of their problems is like, you know, fuck, let's stop being a bitch, do it. Yeah. And then they respond to that most of the time. But then every now and then you'd be like, come here, it's all right.
Yeah, you got to make sure that your mates, they're on your good side. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had people that like, just tell me what to do, and then you like, just tell me what to fucking do, you know, like, which is like, all right. And then you do it, and they're just like, that's also a problem. What did you just say to me?
Yeah. Like, I'm terrified.
I'm like, oh, okay, so that actually doesn't work. You think it does.
Too hard either side still is shit. because we're taught about like in our mentorship we talk about like creating smart athletes that can make decisions on their own.
Yeah.
And so if we just go like, tell me what to do, just fucking tell me the number to do. I don't want to use RPE, or I don't want to auto-regulate, or I don't want to have to think about anything. It's like, yeah, but bro, like that's the separation between good lifter and elite lifter.
Yeah.
Is that like when my elite lifters fuck up, they go like, hey, yeah, I fucked up. And then I applied this, and it's always a smart thing because they know what they're doing. And then I'm like, cool, that was a great decision. Or if it wasn't a great decision, I'm like, let's do this next time. But they did something.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just absolutely fucking melting down and going like, it's the end of the world, you know, fuck, my squats felt shit, fucking throw the entire session in the bin, throw the whole week, throw the prep in the bin.
Yeah.
You know, so there's absolutely like, a middle point where you can get the most out of what. Zach has actually evolved a hell of a lot, I think, since he joined Nexus with this in particular, because Zach is younger. And I feel like when you first started, Zach, you're a little bit almost maybe too accepting of people's problems and a little bit scared to voice up and tell them to do it or whatever. Whereas now, I feel like you're more than happy to tell people to.
Yeah, I think for newer coaches, especially navigating the place of identifying, okay, what does this person want and what do they need is such a fine line. Because like you said, that person may come to you and think, oh, I just want to be told what to do. I just need very clear instructions. Then as soon as you give it to them, they just implode into this puddle. And if you don't have that line of, okay, tough love needs to be put forward here. They need to have a bit of mollycoddling here. And it can be very difficult to navigate it sometimes. I think for me, the biggest point that changed that was just looking at the objective markers and saying, cool, if I'm too soft on this person, they don't achieve XYZ. If they don't achieve XYZ, I've failed at my job. And I think that a lot of people are generally very forgiving of coaches if they don't produce an outcome, which always just boggled my mind how someone would stay with a coach for such an extended period and consistently not achieve their goal without the coach saying, hey, I've done you dirty here, or without the person saying, hey, why haven't I gotten any better? But I think, and I'd be interested to hear you guys' opinion on that, and are they just happy to hear what they want and say, yeah, man, the PR's just around the corner, yeah, man, that goal's coming, but it just never gets over that line, but they're always in this constant state of affirming them, saying, you're doing great, you're doing good, and then at some point they're just lying to them.
Yeah, I think like from a coaching standpoint, a line we use heaps is like, if you're okay, I'm okay. But that only comes with pointing out where we're at. So it's like, if you have a client that's repeatedly like not making progress, it's like, hey, these are the decisions that have been made, and these are the outcomes that have been created by those decisions. If you want a different outcome, those decisions need to be different. What would you like to do? You can't put that ownership back on the clients. Like you know you're fucking up. I know you're fucking up. The spreadsheet or the outcome or the data says you're fucking up.
Yeah.
So do you want to stop fucking up, or are you happy to just keep paying me and keep fucking up?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like ultimately, what we have tried to do, and we pass on to other people as well, is like, I tell this story all the time. Like, I trained this lady for 6 months, and like, it used to keep me awake at night. I used to do back in the day, like,
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. Gym floor trainer, like doing check-ins once a month, measurements, all of that, and I just had like 1 out of 40 clients who wasn't making progress. It was like doing my head in. I walked in the room, I'm like, all right, measurements haven't moved for 4 months.
Yeah.
You drink wine every night. I'm fucking over it. Like, are you happy? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, I'm like, my husband works 70 hours a week. I've got 2 kids under 3, and this is the only time I spend with another adult all week.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll go fuck myself. 'Cause, like, you're not getting worse, and this is what you want out of this exchange? Sweet. Like, we'll just keep going as we're going. So
I guess that comes back to just really being clear on those goals at the start.
Yeah.
And I really delving deep into like who they are, what exactly they want out of it, and sometimes they don't even know. And then you kind of develop like the goalposts along the way. Almost.
Definitely
having that conversation, like you got to have that conversation, which can be hard sometimes. Like for an inexperienced coach, to open that can, it's like fuck, like this is gonna be an awkward conversation. But it's like you're hired to do a job, you need to understand why they're going to come back. And it's like sometimes those difficult conversations have to happen, and the more you have them, the less difficult it is. Like now, it's just normal conversation.
I think another part of that whole conversation too is like starting to, and we spoke a little bit about this with Benny on the podcast earlier in the week, like identifying who you want to be, who you are, and who you want to work with, then allows you to have a smaller window of variance within that. So like if you go on social media, for example, and you're like talking about let's go like self-acceptance and all of that, and you're really heavy on like making people feel good, you will attract people who want to have a coach that tells them it's okay.
Yeah.
And if you come out and you're super direct, maybe like a little bit aggressive with your content, not like call people out type stuff, but like very direct of this is what I do and this is the outcomes I get and this is what happens.
Yeah.
You get people who are bought into that model, so you don't have to, the window of the variance in your clients is less.
I think the tone is certainly important. Like people will talk about like a feminine like tone or whatever. Well, I don't think your tone matters that much until you scale like big or whatever. But I think a big thing with what you just said is like just making sure that you're actually being yourself as well. Because if I just talk how I'm going to talk when you hire me as a coach, like that's great because you're going to get the right people. Whereas if I just like put on the PT persona and go like, I'm going to help you lose 15 kilos in 6 weeks and blah, blah, and just be, I don't know, like not yourself about it, like not being truthful.
And a younger, less experienced coach is so worried about getting a sale, getting a client.
Yeah.
That they put on whatever they need to put on that they think is going to get the most likes content-wise, the most sales consultation-wise. It's like at some point you've got to like the people you're working with, and then they'll stay.
And also you get caught out on the lie eventually.
Yeah.
Because people are like, hey, I hired this fucking dude. That's not you, man.
He was so nice in the consult. Now he's a cunt. Like,
Yeah. So it just, it leads you to, you and your client into a place where you don't really want to be, and then all of a sudden you have a mass exodus of all these people in you, and then it leaves you in an even worse spot. It's a spiral.
Yeah.
But you see it in the PT world a lot, because there's so much like competition in the gym. I feel like everybody's just vying for the sale, like you said.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have a good bearing, like you said, on what their values actually are. Like something that I just redid recently was sit down and go back through my personal model. Like, what am I valuing? What am I trying to give to clients? And a couple of things have changed in the last couple of months. And I think that people just don't spend the time to sit down and say, cool, who do I want to coach? And what parts of my expertise makes those clients suitable for me? Because if you sit down, like you said, you haven't taken stock of that and you haven't put that litmus against those clients. It's like they'll eventually go. If you've built up this massive book of clients who you hate talking to and hate working with, they don't hang around for 2 or 3 years. Like Will said, they eventually find out that you're a different person to what you eventually put forward in the initial couple
That's totally
months.
fine. That's totally fine.
Happens.
Even within Nexus, like with us, me and Zach, if you looked at our rosters and put them side by side, they're quite different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're different people.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we coach in different ways and we speak in different ways. And obviously we're doing a podcast, an educational podcast together. So like our belief systems behind what get results are pretty similar and our, the processes. But we're different people that coach in different ways and talk to them in different ways and attract people of different walks and different goals. So, and I think that to me is fine.
Yeah.
Because that's how Nexus is. That's how we kind of built the company. Whereas if we were like, no, every coach has to use this exact system. I'm not saying it's a bad thing because it's a very scalable thing and it's a very, it's a proven model. But I feel I've seen a lot of companies explode from it, but then crumble just as quickly because all the coaches go like, "Hang on a sec, fuck this."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's misalignment.
Yeah,
really.
And I think you can build a scalable model that allows for room for personality.
Of course.
Yeah.
And even like
all of our coaches completely different. I guarantee you right now.
Like there's times where I've like taken a program that Jace has written and put it together for my client and sent it out, and they've been like, "Jace, write this one?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." Like you can just fucking see it, but it's like we started with the exact same like programming model and funneled it all down, and what came out on paper was like personality, just in programming, let alone how you communicate, how you operate, all of those types of things. So that I think you can definitely put that together. Like there's 3 like main coaches now. We're all incredibly different. Who we work with is really different, but the core values, model, system. When you work with an STC Fit coach is all the same, as I know it's the same with Nexus.
Yep.
Just like the individuality comes from the coach's personality. And if it doesn't, you're probably in trouble because it is just like someone's pretending to be something else to fulfill the role.
Definitely. I've seen you can people see automation as this really good thing, but I feel like it's a thing that can go too far to a degree. like I said, you can scale it really well, but then it comes back. It's a whole different road to go down. With STC, how has STC evolved from when I met you guys to now? Because because I know it has. I know it's fucking. You have so many different offerings and do so much different.
Yeah. So I think when we met you, we were basically dying.
Good life.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah, I think we're both doing over
Even
40.
the podcast was different.
Created a product.
Both doing over 40 sessions
Yeah.
a week and had about a team. Well, I think we had about 17 trainers doing about 320 sessions a week across the board.
Different goals with the company as well.
We just
Like obviously you were
hadn't
coaches.
Created
you were
a
coaching
product
people.
and it fucking went nuts.
grew faster than we thought it could, and then everything was manual.
Which part of that was which product?
The mentorship.
The mentorship.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And we're just playing catch up from then onwards because it was so popular and so
Of that.
and we were so busy.
Yeah.
It's not a bad problem to have though. Like people go,
taught us a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's still a good problem. Like it's a
Definitely.
problem. It's a
Definitely.
fucking problem, but it's a good problem.
Yeah. We learn a lot of lessons from it. Like it's that typical, like, you know, when they say, like, you know, you can get kind of too busy and then, you know,
Too big, too quick.
Too big, too quick, and then all these problems manifest and you can't fix them.
Yeah.
I think that's
We are
really
living
good,
proof.
yeah.
We are living proof of that.
I was about to say that I feel like not every, but a lot of business coaches, right, in the industry, in the fitness industry in particular, will be like, this is how you do it. This is this is how you set your fucking base, and then from there you're going to do this next, and then do that next. But I feel like out of all the successful people that I've met, none of them did it that way.
Yeah.
Something like that happened where they accidentally hit the mark.
Yeah.
Shit exploded. They went, fuck, now what?
Yeah, what do we do?
And then they went, and then you kind of like
Pivot.
just put shit together,
Yep.
make it
Yep.
work, and then over the time you refine that, and then maybe that opens another door, and then you maybe refine into that, and then you systemize almost backwards. And it seems like it's me and Zach say, like, jump in the deep end and then learn how to swim. Like, just fucking, if it's there, go for it, and then just like learn how to swim as you're drowning. Yeah, kind of. But like, is now that you're actually teaching business, do you go back on it and go like, fuck, I wish we?
There's
like,
only.
do you think it was just like that happens? Like,
there's only certain people that are going to do that though. Like, you know, there's only certain people that possess those kind of traits to like be uncomfortable, go out in the deep end, and fucking just send it. Yeah. So like, you know. We wish we had ourselves, like, you know.
My thing is always like, I always go back to myself when a critical decision like that comes in, and you can either jump in or not. My thing always pops into my head is like, what's the worst can happen?
Yeah.
Because like worst thing can happen, I go fucking bankrupt. I go like, oh no, I know some bankrupt people that still drive around their fucking Mercedes and still like love their life.
If you set it up properly, you'll be fine.
I've been broke before. It's okay.
That's what I mean. I'm like, what's the worst can happen? Like, no.
I think everyone, like, we wanted what we didn't have.
Yeah,
you know, and we always say to the guys, like, our goal is for you to leverage our mistakes. Just leverage. Leverage means take advantage of it. It's not to say they're going to not make mistakes and everything's going to be streamlined and it's just going to be this perfectly smooth run. But it's taken us a significantly longer time to get our business into a position where it is like scalable, solid, you know, refined and all of that stuff. And we had to make all those mistakes to do that. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, there's only certain people that are going to do that. They're going to take those chances and weigh up those risks. And the reward probably doesn't, like, if it hits, but it's like there's so much risk here too. But it's just like we just want it so bad that we were going to do it, you know?
I think too, like, we can't look back too much and say, like, we fucked that up or we could have done that better, because I think we were super early to the market and no one else had done it, so there was nothing to really learn from, and the tech wasn't there. So like now we're like learning new technology that's coming out fucking monthly that allows everything to be more streamlined and faster. Like, we would handouts on paper and like
face-to-face workshops and
face to
shit.
face, because like, how could we communicate on Zoom? Like, Canva wasn't what it is now to do slides.
There's no
and
online
shit. Like,
memberships, you know,
it
like
just
courses. There's nothing of the kind.
The thought of going interstate was impossible. Whereas then, like, basically what happened, we had some pretty tough conversations. Like, we're making revenue's well over 7 figures, but we can't do this for much longer.
Yeah,
so it was like, okay, how do we turn what we're doing into a product that we can take to a market that's a product over here, not our souls, that has a part of our soul in it, but isn't an entire thing. And then that's evolved. Obviously, now we've reintroduced the mentorship in the last 4 months. And fuck,
it's
so much better.
Absolutely,
in a new model.
It's a streamlined model. Like,
what's the difference? Like, what are the key Things that make it more streamlined.
Predominantly
like, other
online.
than the content, I imagine. But
Yeah, predominantly online education.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
online's just so much easier.
And it's
Like,
just
even in our mentorship, I always we're not nowhere near as deep in as you. Only gone with a few runs through it at this point, and we've refined every time.
Yeah.
But it always amazes me now when I'm like, we get on a call and there's like multiple, like heaps of people, and like still majority from Australia, but then you've got like this guy's from the US, that guy's from the UK, that guy's from Europe somewhere. Like, it's fucking so sick.
yeah.
I love that.
As well. We're here because one of our trainers is in Brisbane.
Yeah.
It's like, let's come to your gym and do a photo shoot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And photo shoot
Yeah, just for their
in the undies.
Tamos.
We certainly won't.
Get the tan on.
No. For the trainers' clients, and then we ran the workshop the next day, and it was like we had guys from our standout PT program travel up, and it was like, fuck, this
All
is
the layers.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the biggest thing we changed is just like, we now advise all PTs to do this as soon as possible. Is just write out your method.
Yeah.
So I imagine like your mentorship.
We do this with like coaching. Yeah.
Going through the process of writing down, well, how do I program? And how do I make this decision? And how do I make it, whether it's nutrition or it's coaching or whatever? It's like when you do that, people talk about like wanting to build confidence as a coach.
Yeah.
Write down your method.
Yeah, it helps you identify gaps big time.
Yeah.
Like,
and you go, did I just hear that one time? Or is that a real thing?
Yeah.
And then you kind of cross-check it, and then you walk out of there and you're like, yeah, what I do is fucking good.
I actually think the process of writing our mentorship made me a way better coach.
Yeah, 100%.
Way better. And Zach was the same, I know, because when you take these, I always describe it like driving a car. Like when you drive a car, like once you've learnt, it's kind of like automatic. Like you don't think about, okay, fucking turn my wheel right here. Like you get to the destination, you've almost forgot how you got there. Yeah. Like it's very subconscious. And you get to a point when you've done coaching enough years that you're like, programs are like that. And when you coach people, it's kind of like, it's very smooth and it's just, you just know what to say. You know what's coming next. Like you
make a lot of intuitive decisions as well.
Yeah. And then when we wrote out the mentorship, like there was, I realized that I do a lot of things automatically. And then when I went, I'm like, we have to teach people this. And then I'm like, fuck it. I can't just say like, hey, think about it a bit. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So it made me go, all right, well, fuck, how do I actually tell people? Like, what do I do? Oh, yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. And I like put it down. Like I had to think about how I think.
Yeah.
You know? So, and then when I put that on paper, it made it made me better because now when I write a program, if I get a little bit lost in it, you know, maybe a person's unique, has some unique considerations, some fatigue issues, a life that's just fucking hectic around their training, whatever. And I go like, you know, I go back to those processes that I wrote in the mentorship and go, okay, cool, like this is what we do. And it's just makes things, it's heaps easier to not get
decision making better.
Yeah, because before you get overwhelmed, you're like, fuck this, man, this dude's got so much shit on. Like, what do I do? Whereas now it's almost recall back on my own because I've written it out.
Yeah.
Writing it out is
so valuable.
Powerful.
And that's what we do. Like we do it for training, we do it for business, we do it for every area of our business. The goal is to have a written, and I think I actually got it from you. Like all models are broken, but some are useful.
That's not my. That's not. Yeah, that's a much smarter person.
Very
Zach's like, he couldn't have said that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't well. No. But if we can model everything we do, and that model is useful and allows us to make decisions, like it just fucking makes life. And we had no model back then.
Yep.
It was just chaos.
Just winging it.
Just reactive.
We were just reactive the whole time,
Yeah.
which was good, but then it kind of unraveled a bit. So.
Yeah.
But I still think that helps.
Put us in
Because so many successful people I know, I'm like, how did you do it? And they're like, I don't know, fucking like just winging it. Like rock up on the day, solve problems, come back the next, solve more problems, and just fucking do that for years.
Yeah.
And like, you're teaching people how to do it in a slightly smarter way, I hope.
Yeah.
But it was really nice for me to know that. Like when I was, because sometimes you think like, fuck, I'm never gonna get there, man. Like, it's this guy, this company who I'm like idolizing, like they're so fucking good.
Yeah, they're just so far away from you. That's what it feels like.
They've got this shit sorted out, man. And then like you go and talk to the person who owns it, and they're like, nah, like holy fuck,
no one really does, eh?
Yeah. So opening
the outside
opening
picture.
that thread too. Like we did that by accident.
Yeah.
We created that product by accident.
Yeah.
So we built a stupidly expensive subscription-based website that was 15 years too early for the market. At least 10 years too early for the market. And our thing was like...
No, we were just horrible at marketing.
Well, that too. That too. But we were like, we're going to take on Michelle Bridges. Fuck that bitch. So we put this thing out, and it was like, we spent a lot of money and made no money. And we're like, okay, this is a problem. And then we're like, hey, this works as a management tool for personal trainers. We used it in the gym, and then it was like, oh, we know how to sell and coach and write
Build
good
businesses
programs
in the
and
gym.
get results with people. We can tell someone else how to do that. Brought 2 people in, got them. They were like on the way out. Good Life Club.
10 weeks, no clients, like that kind of story. You know,
classic.
Yeah. And it was like, all of a sudden, within 12 weeks, they both had 40 clients. We're like, oh, okay, well, we can do this.
Yep.
So that's like all of a sudden, and it started from a failure.
Yeah,
and that like tying it back into what you were saying earlier, like fucking up. What's the silver lining that you can then take from it? So again, it's like, okay, so we blew up too much, burnt ourselves out. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again for us, but then pass on that to somebody else? Yeah, just those failures and mistakes are really important.
Yeah, and the scalability now is like it's coming back in like light years compared to what it was. It's like it went up here and it crashed and burned. And then now it's more scalable and it's coming upwards faster, and our mental state and bandwidth and the capacity to spread ourselves across the business where we should is way better.
Which means the quality of what we do is way better.
Yeah, where before we're just fucking eyes hanging out of our head all the time. Don't even know how we did it. Yeah.
What I know you mentioned earlier about technology really allowing us to, allowing the average PT to be able to use Canva and make pretty images and market way better than 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Where do you think obviously the hot topic at the moment is like AI, but I mean where do you think the next evolution to make PTs better, being better PTs,
I don't know if it's going to
come from?
I don't know if it's an evolution, but there's 100% an expectation now to like remove friction, remove touch points in coaching. So like more
scalable.
Using the app, bringing up the app discussion. We had that discussion for so long and knew that it was a huge hole in our business that, we got feedback from clients and we both said like, this is a really big thing that we need to overcome. Yep. Obviously, like we do, we'll do it ourselves. Yep. And it was just going to be ridiculously expensive to build a coaching platform that we wanted. And then we were like, oh, we can turn this into a business and blah, 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 blah. And then that's just how we get carried away. So then it was like, all right, well, we can't pull the trigger on that because we need, double 6 figures to turn it into what we want. Yeah. So we were to get
off the ground.
Yeah.
Turns out we needed to add a zero.
Yeah. I was like, for 50 grand, can you build me an app? Anyway.
Nah.
So then, so we made the decision, all right, cool, we're moving to an app. So we obviously moved to my strength book and all of that. So I think in from what we have seen, that is an expectation now using technology that the market is swaying towards. It's like having your touch points everywhere, I think at some point is going to get old real quick. And we've seen it just with like our current clientele and the feedback they've given us, and even just like with the response. Like we've moved to this new system. It's all inclusive. It's not perfect, but it's way better. And we've got people that were like, it's never a little bit clunky. Though, yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
Like if your expectations, same as lifting, if your expectations perfect, you are going to absolutely, burn quickly. Yeah. Because you're just never going to get there, and then you're going to hate your life and then you're going to quit.
Yeah. So it's like having that expectation. It's like just unpacking what you think like good service or premium service is. It's like availability and like I think availability and like a little bit of individualization. Like those two things are things that technology can deliver really, really well. Yep. You obviously will be part of and quality, and you're going to be a part of that quality, but the technology can improve that quality. Yeah. And it's like they're 3 things that really catapult the quality or a service from like good to premium. Yep. And in our industry, like we've heard some horror stories this weekend, just like so disconnected from the coaching community, just like the lower end. It's like it's fucking really easy to separate yourselves by the sound of it.
Yeah. And I think what you're sort of touching on, alluding to there is like you were sort of taking the angle of like, well, what technology, you mentioned Canva. I think it's less on the marketing side and more on actually the service. It's like making a seamless process from onboarding to how to use everything to the check-in experience to the training 100%. Experience to all of those things are actually getting much, much better. So it's like the back end of your business and the inside of your business should be so much better. And then I think from a marketing standpoint, I think and we're seeing it from a huge company standpoint as well. It'll be like this micro community.
Yeah.
So like we've got My Strength Book coming out now with like a subscription app that I think every health club, every rent-paying personal trainer should have a subscription model. Because it's like every person that says, no, I can't afford $70, $80, $90, $100 a week for personal training.
Yeah.
Can you afford 10 for the app?
Yeah.
Like everyone should have that.
This is so two things from that.
We'll have that.
We've definitely looked down the app path and looked at multiple ones, and we're in the process of trying to work out like how we can put our service in there, because we know that's definitely something that we want to take to bring it to that next level. But then there's certain things that we do that are very individual that we need to also like fucking work
you've
with
either got to
that.
work in the constraints of whatever you're working with, or try and make them change a little bit to kind
so
of
we're just
adapt to
waiting
you guys.
on the apps to just get that one little bit extra that we need, and I think
they'll be coming, like from what we've seen, because
they're going fast,
there's
Every time I talk to them.
three major coaching app platforms that we've seen, and it's like one's heavily into coaching, the other one's heavily into training, and then all of their developments are one's into coaching and one's into training.
Yeah, they're all converging.
So they're all going to be...
They'll get there.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even in the last couple of years, I've seen them ridiculously skyrocket in features and usability.
And they're all cracking the code of like white labeling for the App Store and like doing all, like getting around the hoops that you would have to go to manually to do that. So it's like at some point, like that's just going to be a streamlined process, which is a business in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I think like on that is like you don't have to be Nexus to do it, and I think that's been like
that was where my other question is though.
Yeah, it's like the Kayla Ritzines of the world and the Hatties and the whoever that have these huge followings, and it's just like, hey, buy my thing. That's awesome. That's losing weight, and this little community kind of vibe. From what I'm seeing, anyway, is like people are able to create communities in their own gyms, in their own social media. You don't have to have a huge following for people to buy into what you're saying, and then it's like you can create this little community. You don't have to be fucking swipe up. Remember chasing like the swipe up.
Yeah, the 10K.
Like that's all we wanted was like 10K followers just so we could have the swipe up link.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
That it's shrinking down into the
micro community. Yeah.
Do you think this brings on I don't even know if this is a problem, because when I think about it, it doesn't really matter. But if everybody, let's just say like these apps are perfect and like they handle the marketing for you almost, like not fully, but they take a chunk out of your work. Things like Canva and that make it really easy to like look professional and to put out quality content. Then AI maybe jumps in there, and maybe you can easily write things that make you sound smarter than you are. Maybe like all these things, it could be seen as like your very average, not great coach could look like an amazing coach from an external point. Do you think that's a problem? Like
that happens already anyway.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. That's why the evidence-based era is over.
Yeah.
Because you can't put up a post like there's 4 calories per gram of protein anymore.
No.
Because they're just like, fuck off.
It can't be smarter than because even like university top level professors who are literally putting out the new information and studies are on social media putting it out there. So like if you're going, nah, fuck that guy, like
so that
you're not going to be smarter.
That model is dead. And what will separate someone who has a HD camera and a microphone and the Captions app is knowing their client, be able to communicate them. Right now, it's like a problem-solving, identify problem, solve it market. That's like...
use the right tone, use the right language, project a certain persona.
Yeah, know exactly who you're talking to and talk directly to them. Whereas like 10 years ago, it was like, I just need to talk about how like the bro diet shit and people's heads exploded. Now it's like, I need to know you and the exact struggles that you go through. Yeah. And then I can present the outcome, or I can show a client that I did the outcome with, or whatever. Yeah. If you present that really well, you're all good.
Solve problems, add value.
Well, that's always been there, but we got like when you came into the industry, maybe that wasn't as obvious back then, and things like having a HD camera or things like creating a pretty Instagram post were easily like they made you go like, oh, I need to do that. Like it was easy to get sidetracked on things that don't really fucking matter. Whereas now
you're still figuring it out too.
Yeah, it's easier to go like that's what I need to do.
Because you're looking at people like on the other end as well. Like you're looking at people like it's like someone looking at your 400,000 kilo deadlift and going like, I'm just starting out deadlifting. I need to do what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And it's no, there's a lot that went into that. There's a lot of deadlifts. There's a lot of different types of programming, cues, coaches, whatever.
A lot of stupid shit.
That's it. Yeah, good parallels always between training and business, right? So it's just when someone comes into the industry or is premature, they're probably just putting the spotlight on places that don't serve them right now. But if automation can, going back to what you're saying, it's if someone can streamline their business to a degree with a little bit of automation, there's nothing wrong with that because it's filling a void that they don't have at the time.
Yeah.
Providing they don't hurt anybody and do the wrong thing and say the wrong thing, that's going to put someone's health and life at risk. I think that's where technology can serve people and can put you a little bit further ahead than, I guess us, quote unquote, dinosaurs had to do back in our day.
What you're saying is you still need to be good at your job.
Yeah, and everyone gets called out if they're not. Like Zach said before, it's if you can only hold someone's hand and say it's going to be okay for so long, it's your total's not going up, it hasn't gone up forever, you're not putting on muscle, you're not decreasing body fat, you're not doing whatever. It's this isn't working for me anymore.
Yeah.
That person, and that person needs to now go find someone else that maybe they've got a system that works for them or whatever.
Because you can put, hey, sign up to my $30 service and you're going to get super individualized training and check-ins constantly and you can make all the promises in the world. But when enough people start to realize that you're not delivering on that, I've seen people absolutely crash hard.
Yeah, man.
Because their whole client list is figured out. Wait a sec, what the fuck?
This is actually
they're trying to turn a tier 2 offering into a tier 1. It's which is super cheap, a super cheap service with a lot of manual input. It's that's not going to work, man. We're very clear. It's these are the tiers of service, and this is what you get. You're going to just get a program and access to all of our resources and our community.
Yeah.
The price reflects that because we're not changing anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You want individualized coaching, which is not,
support
a templated program that's just here's an avatar and a goal, and you're going to just pick the program you like.
Yeah.
If you want to change that to a pendulum squat, if you want to change from high bar to low bar, if you want to do blocked deadlifts instead of from the ground or a deficit or whatever, whatever weakness, it's
or work around your gym equipment, work around your injuries.
That is coaching. That is coaching. That is something that has to be personalized to you. Then you go up, and you have a coach and you guys can troubleshoot and you have that support and that regular feedback, whatever it is.
Yeah, ours is built, we have 3 tiers for the coaching and it's built on a way that during a prep where they need all that stuff that you just mentioned and that they have a lot of changing variables week to week. They have to pay for that because it's way more time and input.
Yep.
And then for their off season, we found that a lot of people didn't need that. So now we offer a lower tier one that when people hit their off season, it's you know what, I don't need to change the program week to week. And also, kind of generally how to squat, bench, and deadlift now. So let's just go down to that, cruise through, gain some muscle. Then when the next comp rocks around, you can come back up, slide back up the tiers, and we just.
I think you guys were actually pretty
people.
early to that because we had that conversation when I was working with you. Hey. We're doing weekly. We're not changing anything. Do you want?
Yeah, it's a lot more streamlined now.
Yeah. But the concept of it was there needs to be an ability to go up and down here.
Yeah,
and
you have different needs. If you're a competitive athlete, you're going to have different needs at different parts of your career or whatever you call it.
I think you guys did it off the back of obviously demand, where you had someone that could come into that spot straight away.
Yep.
And I think where that's going to evolve to, and it is evolving to now, it will be the opposite. It'll be I want to get you in to show you that I'm not just a good HD camera. Mm-hmm. I actually know what the fuck I'm doing. So here's a great program, and I'll over-deliver on that, and then get people into my premium service through that model.
But even if you don't, being down the bottom is all good.
Yeah.
Because we're happy to just go all in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's... People kind of get worried about this. I don't know, a lot of coaches and I can almost see it in you. It's but it's not going to be Nexus level coaching. But it's it's still going to be better than ChatGPT.
100%.
Which is probably where they're going to get it from.
It's better than TikTok. Getting your workout advice off TikTok from a generation under 25 that maybe doesn't have the income but has the desire to actually want to train properly.
I'm fully on board with it because technology has gotten... My thing used to be why the fuck would I sell a PDF program that is exactly the same for everybody for $20-$30 what it is? I can guarantee you that's not going to solve your problems.
Yeah.
Tell you fucking right now that you're not coming to me and going hey, Will, I'm shit at lifting. Can you make me better? Oh, sure. Here's this PDF. See ya.
Yeah.
Like, that's not solving your problems. Like I was like adamant that we weren't going to do that because of that. Like, I'm like, it's not going to work. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the gym set up in a similar way. Everybody here's just coached in here for a reason.
Yeah.
But then in recent times, now the apps allow you to go like, here's a program. You can choose between 3, 4, 5 days. You can choose between if you want to get fucking jack legs or big arms.
Yeah.
You can, and with that, we're going to provide on the back end and within the same app, maybe like educational stuff to educate you about how to train and how to make
squat, bench, and deadlift stuff, variations, etc.
Like what the goal of all this shit is, so you can actually do it properly. So there's like enough coaching involved in that base tier that I'm happy that it's going to actually deliver results these days, and I'm comfortable with that now. Yeah. Where it was more the old, just fucking. Here's a 5x5 program. I guarantee you follow this, you're going to get results. And then like the person, goes, for 12 weeks, but I have sore knees. I can't fucking do it. Oh, too bad. You bought the program. You get no changes. Fuck you. And that's just how it was. That's how it was.
Yeah, your lens is open now as well because you are probably moving more towards like a business views of things too. Like you kind of just see the world a bit different, man. Like you've got a gym, you have a brand, you guys run online coaching, you do mentorships. Like you got to look a little bit broader at some point because if you just narrow in on like one area, it's like it just caps the growth.
Yeah, we were like always focused on results, and if I was like this thing can make a lot of money, but it just doesn't fucking get results, I was just like, no.
Yeah, well, that's it. And that's good because it's like, I feel like some people have forgotten that too. It's just like the dude that can read the fucking textbook online now without it. Like people just go, oh, you got to follow this dude. It's like, just read the fucking book, man. This person's got no results. Like he probably doesn't know how to apply the damn thing, you know?
I think what the technology has done is lower the barrier of entry to be able to produce good stuff. So like you needed to have 100,000 followers or whatever and a big budget to create something more valuable than a downloaded PDF. Like we did Ben Pekulski's Hypertrophy Max back in the day.
I did all of them.
It was on CDs.
I had every PDF.
Yeah, it was on CDs.
It was a year. And it was like the best of its time. It was 12 months. It came with DVDs, a booklet. Like
how many DVDs?
A year.
You got all the workouts were on CDs.
Like two a month, I think, for 12 months. And they like posted from the States and shit. It was like the only way.
He can't get you in the gym and fucking kick your ass.
Correct. But we learnt so much in that year because we didn't have access to any good coaches in our area. So it was like, well, this is the best that we can do. And then it was like, cool, we learnt heaps off the back of that. But now.
Still in the right direction.
That all exists in fucking the palm of your hand.
Yeah, so and the cool thing is we would have, if we could have, we would have trained with Ben.
Yeah.
You know, so there's also that like lower barrier to entry so you can get them in at some point. You know, like a lot of brands and stuff, they groom their audience like well and truly years and generations before because they know that person's going to need X, Y, and Z. So if we know that if we can get an 18-year-old into our training system
for $1,
for $10 a week, you know, like 1 hour of his part-time job, it's like at some point that kid's going to be, or that person's going to be in a position where they're like, I need to get coaching and I'm going to use STC Fit to do that. And we're happy to give someone better than fucking TikTok and YouTube bullshit.
And hold those
better than doing what I did, which was just getting to the gym going like,
look at the biggest dude and go,
my legs are sore. Okay, we're not training legs. What's another part?
Just follow the big jack dude.
Rich Piana 8-hour bicep workouts.
Mine was just like literally what's not sore. Let's train that. And then let's make up a workout on the spot. What machines are free? Yep. That's a chest machine. Sick. Let's hit that. Just absolutely pummel yourself into the ground on that machine and then go, okay, what's next? And so it's better than that. Yeah. It's fucking way better than that.
And then for the coaches, like we always say to them, like, you know, you've got to have this like ascending transaction model. And like it just, every trainer goes into the gym selling time and themselves as the value add.
Yep.
And it's like, that's when they just get trapped and they're working a job. They're a slave to their business. They can't get out of that mindset and that situation. It manifests itself over years and stuff. And then they either leave because they need time to have a family or, you know, they just burnt the fuck out. And it's like, we know that if you just have that good foundation and you have a couple of different products and entry points, you start to think like a business, you start to act like a business, and you start to have people that will come in at a lower entry point and a high value entry point.
So it's such a common position. You go to, you know, I can walk down the road to Worlds right now and you'll see there's still tons of people in that boat.
Yeah. It's like 10 years
I don't think that'll ever
slaving
go away.
away. No, of course it won't because
that's the mindset. That's just
it's
when
manifested.
You walk in, that's what you do.
It's manifested from the get go when you walk in there.
Yeah, that's
is
how gyms tell you how you should train
time,
people.
session, and people are the metrics for success.
Yeah.
It's like, how many sessions are you doing?
Yeah.
You first in, last to leave. Like, people pride themselves on that, but it's like, there's some dude like working 2-3 days a week, making twice as much as you. So it's like, where's the flex really if you're first in, last to leave, if like you're just doing a bunch of shit that you don't have to?
Yeah, and not getting any results because you're too fucked.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. Zach, do you have any more? I know you've been a little bit quiet because you're not here, but that's your own problem.
I'm up on that's my own purpose.
We'll have to put a screen on the seat and we'll just stare at the seat.
Just a small thing on the availability of information, what you guys were touching on there, and a big part of that is there's no more gatekeepers to information. Like previously you had to go out of your way to learn shit to make you stand out, but now because everyone has it, I think the thing that's pushing people towards those kind of micro communities is they like your individual take on non-unique information. Like nothing that I've said in the last 3 years has been my idea. Like, I've learned it off someone else and just put my somewhat chaotic spin on it. And for some reason, people like the way you view things. And there is God knows how many people in the market for fitness training. There is more people than there is coaches there will ever. Because the subset of the population who coach is much smaller than the people who need coaching. Yeah. So there's so much success for everyone.
30, 40, 50, whatever.
Yeah. Even with like a massive app, like how many people does Eugene have going through his systems?
Yeah, lots. From what we heard. Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah,
like there'd be so many people, but yet there's still plenty of clients for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like
well,
doubling
sets
down
and reps.
on
You're selling sets and reps. It's like when you look at it, it's like we're all doing the same thing. It's like you can't sell that.
Yeah,
it's like people are attracted to you, Zach, to Will, Ben, myself, and it's like you said, it's just a unique way of delivering what you deliver, and knowing who the person is on the other end. Because the person on the other end, I know for you and I, is fucking really different, and I know it is for you guys as well.
Yep.
And it's like that's the differentiator.
Yeah, and we have the same logo on our shirt, and we're different. Like, you know what I mean? It's wild, and it's interesting that when you were saying that, Zach. I was just thinking of like PTs that like hire coaches and don't want to tag their coach because they might. If I'm working with them, why wouldn't they just go to the person I hire? Because obviously they're better.
Yeah,
and it's like that's not. You're missing the whole
point.
The whole thing. It's like you're creating a relationship with people based on personality. I worked with Will for 3 years, maybe 4. It's like I never had a client leave to go to
I'm going to go train with Will. Yeah.
It's like, and I got asked that question, like, oh, like, you tag Will all the time. I'm like, of course I fucking do. He's my coach.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but you want your clients to tag you in your shit, but you won't tag. It's such a weird, but it just shows like that misunderstanding of what you just said, Zach. It's like people are coming to buy sets and reps from your perspective. And that's why that they're bought into the whole idea in the first place.
Yeah. Even like why trainers don't give clear clients programs, because they're scared they'll leave them. Yeah. It's just like that.
It's terrifying.
Scarcity mindset. Just like create dependence and they'll stay. It's like, no. Do the right thing and do your fucking job, and they'll stay because you're good at it.
Yeah.
Get results.
Yeah. Right. Dare I say it?
Cool. All right, let's leave that there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good place to end. There's some really
Easy
good
done.
gems there. And do you want to give people I know you
a little shameless plug?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So training stuff, you'll find us at STC Fit. For personal training development stuff, you'll find us at STC Fit_learning.
For now. Yeah, going through a little bit of a rebrand.
Yeah,
but
got the inside scoop.
Yeah, going through a little bit of a rebrand, but that'll come in the next coming weeks. If you go to STC Fit, you'll find it.
you'll
find the other one.
Go to the Instagram and fuck around.
STC Fit on Instagram, stcfit.com. Obviously, check out the website, and you can find us obviously on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Red hot.
Thanks
for
guys.
having us,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
I was waiting, Zach, you're always so late with your red hots.
I gotta wait till people stop talking.
No, you just fucking just throw it.
Ben's talking. He's like, red hot. Thank you for listening to Nexus Unloaded. Be sure to jump on our website to find details on everything mentioned on today's podcast, plus information on our coaching, mentoring, and gym services. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at NexusPerformance.Aus for any updates on what we are currently doing. See you all in the next episode.